top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts Bringing Value Home. PPP sees failed promises must not be overlooked. Vote for law and order, Norton to New Amsterdam supporters. The world is watching. EU observers sound alarm ahead of Guyana's September 1 elections. Faggera blasts APNU, says he feels valued and respected in the PPPC's camp. And victimization and intimidation must not be the order of the day. Citizens must be allowed to freely exercise their democratic right. AMANZA WALTON-DESIR. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Monday, 4th August 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. This is what you should know this evening. A Partnership for National Unity's presidential candidate Aubrey Norton has called the government out for promoting a corrupt and racially prejudiced system in Guyana. In his address to hundreds of supporters in New Amsterdam, the seasoned politician cited the incumbent's failure to deliver law and order to the Guyanese people. Antonio Day opens
the People's Progressive Party has destroyed this country. There was a time in Guyana when you could have gone to the police and expect justice. But the People's Progressive Party has politicized the Guyana Police Force.
That was Aubrey Norton, presidential candidate for your Partnership for National Unity, in his address to thousands of party supporters at a rally held in New Amsterdam over the weekend. He said that law and order has eroded on the incumbent to the extent of public distrust and mistrust.
The PPP cannot live with the rule of law. The PPP cannot live with justice because all of their actions are unjust. When a political cabal could seek to cover up the murder of an 11-year-old child, it is time for them to go.
The seasoned politician also reprimanded the Ali-led regime for failing to address the issues of poverty in Guyana due to the country's great economic projections.
And you know why they don't mention the word poverty? If they mention the word poverty, they're going to reduce the money they get to thief.
The APNU candidate contended that given the amount of revenues generated through oil and gas production, citizens should not live in abject poverty. Norton reminded supporters of his party's people-centered strategies and urged citizens to critically analyze these policies, as many lives have not been significantly impacted on the incumbent.
For too long, this country's resources go into the hands of the PPP, their family, their friends, and their favorites. We intend to end that.
Furthermore, as part of the plans itemized in the party's people-centered development strategies, Mr. Norton touched on the rent-to-own housing initiative for young people.
We will build you houses. We're saying that you will occupy those houses. We're saying that you will pay a rent. And when the rent covers the cost of the house will be transferred to you.
Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
President Irfan Ali has placed the blame squarely on the shoulders of those who he claimed choose to align with U.S.-sanctioned businessman and presidential hopeful Azardin Mohammed. He claims that they were warned of the risks but refused to listen. Here is more. President Irfan Ali did not hold back over the weekend, directing a fresh criticism at presidential hopeful Azardin Mohammed. In remarks, Ali said several young members of Mohammed's recently launched We Invest in Nationhood Win party are already facing serious fallouts, including frozen or closed bank accounts, with more consequences potentially on the way. Ali maintained that these actions were not ordered by the government, but were decisions made by banks seeking to safeguard their international banking ties. Still, he acknowledged the emotional and financial strains this has caused for the affected individuals. Speaking at the People's Progressive Party Civics campaign rally in Linden on Sunday, the president disclosed that 3 commercial banks, GBTI, Demerara Bank and Citizens Bank, have already acted against individuals identified as Win Party candidates. He also warned that further closures could occur this week as other financial institutions carry out internal reviews in line with international compliance standards.
Who did not hear the hard is? They did not listen. They ended up on a list. And we know, and we said to you, that is not Guyana problem. The global community said to you, if by association you go this way, there will be penalties.
But while bashing their decisions to join Mohammed's movement, the president in the same breath extended an olive branch. He suggested that while the decisions were ultimately made by financial institutions, the government would try to reach out to those affected in an effort to restore credibility post-elections.
And on Monday, as president, I have to know what is happening. I have to know what are the risks in our society. And I've been told on Monday that more young people will receive letters of closures of their account from other banks. You think we want that?
Ali's remarks come amid the financial and political fallout from sanctions imposed by the U.S. Treasury Office for Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, on June 11, 2024. The sanctions targeted Nazar and Azardin Mohammed, their businesses including Mohammed's Enterprise and T. Mohammed's Racing, and a former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, May Thomas. All were accused of corruption and gold smuggling. With only weeks remaining before Guyanese voters head to the polls, Robert Bidron, head of the European Union Election Observer Mission to Guyana, delivered a clear message. The international community is closely watching how Guyana conducts its elections. More details in this report. With the September 1 elections fast approaching, Robert Bidron, head of the European Union Election Observer Mission EU, EOM, has issued a sharp reminder that the world is closely watching how Guyana manages its democratic process. In a video message posted Sunday on the mission's official Facebook page, Bidron explained that he is leading a 50-member team of international experts and observers who are carrying out a full, independent and impartial assessment of Guyana's general and regional elections. The EU mission was invited by the government of Guyana and will monitor the entire electoral process. Observers have already been stationed across all 10 administrative regions and are engaging with political parties, civil society organizations, electoral authorities, and the media. Their scope includes monitoring campaign activities, media reporting, the conduct of polling day, and the post-election period.
Our team of experts and observers will be deployed around the whole country and will be meeting a whole bunch and range of people, experts, political parties, civil society organizations, media, and voters.
The EU EOM's final report, expected after the elections, will include key findings and recommendations aimed at strengthening Guyana's electoral system. In the meantime, Bidron's offered this message to citizens.
We are here to contribute to transparency and demonstrate that the world is watching these elections with respect and interest. We have no stake in who wins. Our only concern is that the whole process is inclusive and credible, and that every voter casts its ballot freely and with confidence.
The People's Progressive Party Civic, the PPPC administration has pledged full transparency and openness to external oversight, pointing to the lessons learned from the past. For many voters, however, the presence of credible international observers is not only reassuring, but a safeguard against potential manipulation. More news for you after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You with the HGP Nightly News. At a rally in New Amsterdam, a businessman in the Partnership for National Unity's candidate, Dr. Terrence Campbell, pledged to supporters that should his party be elected to government, it will preserve at least 25% of Guyana's yearly oil revenues. Antonio Day filed that report.
The APNU government will save a minimum of 25% of our oil money every year.
That was businessman and a Partnership for National Unity APNU candidate, Dr. Terrence Campbell, speaking at a rally in New Amsterdam over the weekend. Dr. Campbell said almost all of the nation's oil revenue has been spent by the current administration without adequate accountability.
They spend out 95% of the money that we earn from oil every year. A few years ago, they said they wanted 75, and they got drunk on the money, and they gone all the way to 95. Every single cent of your oil money is being spent crazy by the PPP.
Under a Partnership for National Unity-led government, the country's sovereign wealth fund will be subject to strict oversight and accountability. The businessman who serves on the Natural Resources Fund Investment Committee affirmed. He also made reference to Ghana, which has stringent oversight of the country's oil and gas sector.
In Ghana, they have the same mechanism like us. Oil money come in, you put it in the consolidated fund, and you spend it. But in Ghana, they account for every single cent. And the APNU government will account for every single cent of the oil money that we collect. We will account to you because it's your money.
In addition, Dr. Campbell criticized the PPPC government for alleged ineptitude, corruption, and poor management, urging voters to select what he called a capable and clean team, led by APNU leader NORTON. Highlighting the importance of improving the lives of Guyanese, the APNU candidate sharply chided the incumbent for investing in capital projects, citing poor results despite large expenditures. He pointed out that rising food prices, living expenses, and electricity costs are all occurring, while the government continues to invest in infrastructural development.
But what is there to smile while the cabal at Freedom House is raping this country? There is nothing to smile about. I guarantee you that Aubrey Norton will smile when we fix the problems in this country. I know that many of you are suffering. In this fastest growing economy in the world, the wealth ain't trickling down.
In addition, he pledged that APNU will create 40,000 full-time jobs in non-oil industries, like infrastructure, sanitation, and construction. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
During Sunday's People's Progressive Party Civic's Linden rally, Jermaine Faggera encouraged party supporters in the mining town to throw their support behind the incumbent for another term in office. Marvin Cato has the details.
In his first major address since resigning from the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, Jermaine Faggera took the stage at the People's Progressive Party Civic Rally in the mining town of Linden over the weekend, encouraging fellow Lindeners to throw their support behind President Ali for a second term. Faggera, who not so long condemned actions of the very party he now supports, hid behind sunglasses and praised the People's Progressive Party Civic for delivering its promises to the people of Linden.
Never before in the history of Linden and Region 10 have we seen and experienced such rapid transformation happen simultaneously. They say they will build a 2-lane bridge for us. This government is building a 4-lane bridge. They promise us. They say they will rehabilitate the Mackenzie Sports Club. But this government is building a multi-purpose Mackenzie Stadium.
While in the PNCR, Faggera was removed from key positions in the party and parliament by the party's current leader and presidential candidate Aubrey Norton, who cited lack of vision and underproductivity. Now aligned with the PPPC, Faggera said he feels at home and promises to deliver for the incumbent.
Comrades, I feel valued. I feel respected. And I am part of something great. I am part of a team that is putting the people and this country first. I am humbled and I am thankful for your embrace and for your welcome.
He also took a jab at his former party, accusing it of race baiting, a position he never once took while a member.
We have been told for decades that we are victims, that we have been marginalized, that we have been discriminated. But I stand there to say to you, the evidence and the facts says otherwise.
Guyanese head to the polls on September 1st, with the PPPC seeking another term in office. If elected, this would make 33 years in the seat of government for the party. This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
The Aircram International Centre and the British Chamber of Commerce Guyana, BRICHCAM, convened a meeting to discuss collaboration to promote and support the work of the Centre and the LCDS 2030. This engagement followed the MOU which was signed earlier this year. The Centre, in a statement on Monday, said it presented its work programs to BRICHCAM's membership and areas of initial collaboration were discussed. British High Commissioner to Guyana, Her Excellency Jane Miller, said she, quote, is pleased to see BRICHCAM stepping up as a key partner in advancing sustainable development through private sector engagement. This growing partnership signals important momentum for conservation-focused collaboration between the UK and Guyana's business community, end of quote. Chairman of BRICHCAM, Faisal Khan, noted that, quote, this collaboration with Aircram marks a significant step for BRICHCAM as we deepen our support for initiatives that align with sustainable business practices, end of quote. He emphasized that the vision includes not only strategic events, but also tangible programs such as anti-littering campaigns and eco-tourism promotion that reflect long-term commitment to environmental leadership and responsible commerce. Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of Aircram, Dane Corbin, quote, commended the membership of BRICHCAM for pursuing socially, environmentally, and ecologically best practices as they operate their businesses, end of quote. In the coming months, BRICHCAM and Aircram will roll out joint initiatives which will include, but not be limited to, anti-littering campaigns, community livelihood programs, forest conservation, and research. We have more news for you after this break. Stay with us. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Thanks for staying with us. Presidential candidate of the Forward Guyana movement, AMANZA WALTON-DESIR, on Sunday said every Guyanese in the lead-up to and after the upcoming general and regional elections must freely choose who they support when they go to the polls. With the elections merely 28 days away, WALTON-DESIR said this is not the case under the current regime. Here's that story.
In what can be considered as a measured approach in her delivery on Sunday night, Forward Guyana Movement presidential candidate AMANZA WALTON-DESIR, during a sit-down with sources, spoke candidly about her departure from the People's National Congress reform and, by extension, a Partnership for National Unity Coalition, APNU.
We have done the same thing for the last 60 years, that we have been we've been strapped with a winner-takes-all system.
The Forward Guyana movement will not be contesting the upcoming regional and general elections in Regions 7, 8, and 9. However, they have met the criteria to participate in all 10 regions for the general election. The Forward Guyana movement is only 1 month old, and WALTON-DESIR spoke to fear that has gripped the electorate, which, according to her, goes against the principles of democracy. However, smaller political parties like hers, she contends, have managed those challenges by facing them head-on.
Fear of victimization.
So persons are concerned that should they...
Persons are concerned, and it is the lived reality, because I've had one female candidate who was a businesswoman, and who, because she said she stepped forward and decided to make a change, her photo was seen, and a client called and said, well, I can't do business with you any longer. You also see that intimidation being exercised by the current PPPC administration, where correspondence in their WhatsApp groups, it was leaked.
Forward Guyana's Movement's coalition with Vigilant Political Action Committee, VPAC, and the People's Movement came about because the three shared more in common.
What influenced your decision to coalesce with these two political parties?
Because you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. And I have found in my interactions with both Nigel London, who is now the prime ministerial candidate, and Mr. Darwin Bess of VPAC, that what united us was greater than what we disagreed upon.
WALTON-DESIR parted ways with the People's National Congress Reform and immediately formed her own party. This was as a result of the disagreements she's had with the leader of the PNCR and by extension a Partnership for National Unity. The trust between her and the leader of the party broke down significantly, as was evident when she abruptly withdrew from the PNCR's leadership race 2 days before the party's Congress, citing a lack of transparency in the process. This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Meanwhile, Forward Guyana Movement will be launching its manifesto on a Tuesday. The party considers its manifesto as a contract with the people. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George was on Monday sworn in to serve as the Chancellor of the Judiciary, while Justice Navindra Singh has been sworn in to serve as the Chief Justice. More details from Antonio Day.
Both Justices Roxanne George Wilshire and Navindra Singh took the oath of office before President Irfan Ali to serve as Chancellor of the Judiciary and Chief Justice. The swearing-in took place at the office of the President on Monday. The appointees came as Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary. Justice Yannick Cummings Edwards proceeds on almost 3 months of leave. President Ali stated in his brief remarks that the appointments were made to guarantee continuity and the efficient functioning of the Judiciary in the Chief Justice and the Chancellor's offices, according to a Facebook post by the Office of the President. He added that the temporary filling of Justice Cummings Edwards' role reflects the administration's commitment to justice, fairness, and the rule of law, which are essential to the country's democratic framework. Aubrey Norton, the presidential candidate for the Partnership for National Unity, recently at a press conference noted that he is choosing not to consult with President Ali regarding the selection of a substantive judge to serve as Chief Justice because he believes that no consideration was given to more experienced judges.
One would have thought that if the government was going to operate in a fair way, they would have taken one of the senior judges to become the acting Chief Justice.
He explained that the names of other judges who were recommended, who has more experience than the one proposed by the incumbent, were not taken into consideration.
They recommend to me one of the junior judges who the general view is has links to the People's Progressive Party and will not necessarily operate based on the rule of law. But there are other judges who are senior to him and no consideration was given to them.
Additionally, Mr. Norton said such appointments do not need agreement. Like the substantive appointments, they only demand meaningful consultations.
Irfan Ali has not shown the ability to consult, much less meaningfully.
Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Monday's edition of the Regional News. I am Antonio Day. We begin with news in Belize. Belize has been selected as one of the 4 countries to participate in a landmark regional effort aimed at bolstering national efforts to reduce the effects of tobacco consumption. The World Health Organization and the Pan-American Health Organization, in collaboration with Bloomberg Philanthropies and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, are leading the Towards a Smoke-Free and Emission-Free Latin America campaign. It is intended to reinforce global commitments to public health and sustainability, building on the 2020 South America Smoke-Free milestone. Tobacco consumption remains one of the most significant public health challenges in Latin America, contributing to over 8 million deaths annually. Of those, 1.3 million were linked to exposure to secondhand smoke, underscoring the urgent need for smoke-free environments to protect the public, particularly vulnerable groups such as children and adolescents. The National Drug Abuse and Control Council held a series of activities to build capacity, foster collaboration, and garner support for the implementation of tobacco control policies across multiple sectors. Data shared during the session highlighted widespread social support for tobacco and control measures and emphasized the role of judicial decisions in reinforcing policies aimed at reducing tobacco use. Over to news in Haiti. Police in Haiti have arrested a former senator charged with conspiring against the state and financing criminal organizations for allegedly supporting gang members. Ninel Kassi was arrested Saturday at a restaurant in Pétionville, a wealthy district of the capital, Port-au-Prince, Haiti's National Police said in a post on Facebook. The police shared photos of the former senator in handcuffs next to heavily armed officers wearing ski masks. Arrests of high-level officials are rare in Haiti, where the government is also struggling to control neighborhoods and villages that gangs have taken over. Kassi was designated as a corrupt actor by the U.S. State Department in 2023. He was accused by Haiti's police in February of backing gang members who launched deadly attacks on Kenskoff, a neighborhood 10 kilometers outside Port-au-Prince that is home to much of the nation's elite. Kenskoff has been largely untouched by Haiti's gang violence until February's attacks, in which dozens of people were killed. The neighborhood is now targeted by gangs that are trying to seize more territory from Haiti's government. And finally, with some international news. After a video of an emaciated captive it released drew harsh criticisms from Western powers, Hamas said Sunday it was ready to work with Red Cross to deliver aid to hostages it hosts in Gaza if Israel meets certain requirements. Hamas said any coordination with the Red Cross is contingent upon Israel permanently opening humanitarian corridors and halting airstrikes during the distribution of aid. Israeli officials say that only 20 of the 50 hostages who are still in Gaza are thought to be alive. Families have little to no information about the hostages' conditions, and Hamas has so far prohibited humanitarian organizations from entering the area. On Saturday, Hamas released its second video in 2 days of Israel hostage, Avatar David. Thank you for watching. I'm Antonio Day. Goodbye for now.
PPPC's failed promises must not be overlooked. Vote for law and order. Norton to New Amsterdam supporters. The world is watching. EU observers sound alarm ahead of Guyana's September 1 elections. Faggera blasts APNU, says he feels valued and respected in the PPPC's camp. And victimization and intimidation must not be the order of the day. Citizens must be allowed to freely exercise their democratic right. AMANZA WALTON-DESIR. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA Grant. Thanks for watching.